I'm Artsy Gamer 7, formerly Artistic Gamer 7. I know it's not a big change, but again, I wanted a fresh new start even on my YouTube journey when I moved, because like this was a big change for me because I've been in that same house since I was born, and now I have moved to a different town, different house. I'm living with my fiance. We're getting married this year. At least that's what the plan is still as of right now. But yeah, so I just wanted a fresh start, and I didn't want to fully change the name just because I still wanted to be able to use the AG7, but also have it slightly updated, refreshed sort of situation. But we are here with a new mini-series on this channel. While the older series are still uploading, I decided, I was like, maybe I should have a little new series so there's at least some new content, while the 4 series that I'm deciding to bring back over to this channel from the old one, which I'm not bringing all the series back, that was still currently going. I'm even debating on bringing Fire Emblem back at this point. I'm not sure. Well, that's one I'm gonna figure out as time goes on. But as of right now, I'm bringing those 4 over, and if I decide to bring Fire Emblem back, then I'll bring those videos over after that point. For now, it is just the 4, and now this new series that's gonna be sort of mixed in there, just so that there's some new fresh content for you guys as the old stuff comes back, so that I can have a full set of playlists, so that anyone who potentially comes to those videos after, later on, they can find where to start the series and get caught up to that point. They have one place that they can go to instead of going to my old channel for the first so many videos and then coming back to the new channel for the current ones. So that is the whole point. I'm moving those over on Twitter. I did a poll about the mini-series. Yes had won, and then I also put 4 suggestions of what the little mini CAS series potentially could be, and Legend of Zelda won. So here we are, making Legend of Zelda characters in this mini-series. I also made a little wheel. I use Will Decide to do some of this stuff, and I made a little wheel with a bunch of Legend of Zelda characters, more than I'm going to create for this mini-series, but I wanted there to be several options from throughout the different games, throughout the series, and I didn't want it to necessarily be biased by me picking only characters that I really, really like and look forward to creating, though I was really happy with the first decision, because if you, obviously by the video title, and also if you look up in the top left corner, you know who this is, and it is Midna! Midna is one of my favorite Legend of Zelda characters. Twilight Princess is one of my favorite Zelda games, so I was super excited when I spin the wheel and it was Midna. I was like, yes! Midna's the first one I get to make. I was so excited. So yeah, honestly at this point, I'm pretty sure most people, even if you haven't played the game, you sort of know the little twist that happens with Midna at the very end of it. If not, I suggest by the 5-minute mark, you get prepared to not really watch anymore, because I am putting little images down on the bottom here so that anyone who needs a refresher on what they look like or doesn't know the character necessarily, because not everyone who's watching this potentially has played Zelda or even paid attention to Zelda, and that is fine. But I still want them to be able to enjoy the Sims content while also at least having an idea of what I'm doing, trying to create. This is little Imp Midna, as I'm calling her. She's the little tiny version of Midna. And this is the Midna, if you play Legend of Zelda, this is the Midna that you know through basically the whole entire game, and the one who accompanies you on the journey, basically the Navi or the Fee of this game. Making it Midna, I was a little concerned because I did decide to do the toddler form, and was like, you know what, I'm gonna make it toddler because Imp Midna, well, I don't know if she's actually called Imp Midna. I feel like I've heard a few people call her that, but I don't know officially if that's what she's called. I know the other version of her is called True Form Midna, so she ended up being adorable, and I ended up really liking how she turned out, but at the same time, going into it, I was a little concerned, because even if you're not talking about CC, which obviously I have lots of CC, but if you're not even talking about that, toddlers don't really have much in terms of accessories and clothing and hairs and stuff like that compared to the adults. So I was like, she is going to be a little bit more challenging because I'm not going to have as much to choose from, because even in the CC world, adults have way more than every other generation. I was like, yep, this is going to be a little bit tougher than the other form, but you know what? It will be fun. And I like these to be part of a challenge. I like them to be a little bit like, not just like copy and paste stuff over. I don't go and look for stuff specifically for these creative sims. I don't try to go and download CC specifically for that. Also, with how I do some of these series, I am deciding characters to create as I'm making the series. So, as of recording this voiceover, I know who the second character is, but I haven't created the said second character. But if I try, sometimes I record them one after another also. So if I let's say I recorded Midna on a certain day and I decided to go straight to the second character, I don't know who the second character is or the next character is until I spin the wheel. So I don't want to have to unload sims every single time to go look for CC. But also, that's not as much of a challenge anymore. If I look for CC specifically for that character, like I tried to find Midna's specific clothing and hair and stuff like that and just put it on a sim. Yeah, obviously it would look a whole lot like Midna, but it wouldn't have been much of a challenge. And that's sort of what I like to do. No, nothing against people who just do that. There's still a lot of talent that goes into molding the face and stuff to make it go along with the clothing and accessories and things, and it still looks really good, and I still find those things interesting. I would still watch them. My old channel, I did Breath of the Wild, Link, and Zelda in the way that I do them, where I use alpha CC and so, well, at least when it comes to the hair, and I specifically try to create the characters from the CC I have and not from looking for CC specifically for them. And I was really happy with how they turned out. And I had a comment on that video, which there's nothing wrong with this comment either, but they mentioned how, like, it was a good job, but such and such creator did a better job. And I was like, I didn't take any offense to that, but part of me was curious, and I went and looked at the creator's video, and they did do a great job. Link and Zelda looked great and amazing, but at the same time, they used CC that was specifically for those characters. So, yeah, they're gonna look like Link and Zelda more than mine because I'm not using exact CC for mine, but that's my challenge. So if you're looking for someone to create exact replicas of the characters and have the exact CC for it, I'm not gonna be the person because I don't find a challenge in that, and I like challenges. That's why I'm enjoying the Not So Berry Challenge and the Female Gaming Legacy Challenge. I love those challenges, and I'm having so much fun with them. But that's what I do with my creative sims, so just for anyone who hasn't seen my creative sims in the past, because I've talked about it on a few of them. So anyone new coming to this channel, or anyone who hasn't watched my creative sims for whatever reason, but they've been a subscriber of mine in the past on the other channel, that's just how I do my creative sims. So I like them to be somewhat of a challenge, and I will say, getting Midna as the first one probably was a little bit more of a challenge. Like, if there's some of the characters I have on there, I have, like, trying to remember some of them's names. I have Paya on there, I have Pippet from Skyward Sword on there, I have the pumpkin girl who's like from Skyward Sword also. Like, her dad and her have like this pumpkin soup shop thing. I always thought she was really adorable. I can't remember her name right now. It started with a K, I think. She's on there somewhere. Obviously, Link and Zelda themselves are on there. I have Impa on there, which Impa is in so many different games. I don't know which specific Impa I would do, but, and then there's Ariel? Ariel? I don't know how to say her name. Link's sister from Wind Waker. Tetra's on there. There's a lot of, like, human-y looking like characters who will be a lot easier than people like Midna, especially when it comes to her imp form, but even her true form, you know, she's got some features like her skin and stuff and her eyes that are not typical. So obviously characters going on towards that rail in like the different Rito, so like Rivali's in the list somewhere, Medley is on the list, they're the Rito. I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm not sure if I put any Gorons on the list, which makes me feel bad now, but I really don't think I did. Ruto's on there, Mifa, Sidon. Like, there's gonna be some characters that there's gonna be a little bit more play to them to make them into a sim, but at the same time, I hope I get more of those characters than the others, to some degree. My next one is more of a humanoid-ish, well, definitely more humanoid. Technically it's a Gerudo, so a Gerudo lady. So they're basically really buff Hylians with a tan. Shouldn't be too hard, but at the same time, she is just, the character is a very magnificent lady that I don't know if I am worthy. But anyway, that is your little hint on the next character. But yeah, with Midna here, she does have a few features, and technically her skin tone is 2 different skin tones. She has the bluish gray, and then she also has the black-ish gray. Because it's not like a true black, it's like a lighter black. But anyway, that being said. So that was some of the main things I had to fight with her, was her skin tones and her eye colors. But I did have fun with tattoos, with both of those, actually. So this one tattoo that I have, I always thought it made me think of Midna. Like, ever since I had it, it just gave me Midna vibes. And I technically have used it in other situations before, and I think maybe even in those videos, because I had videos on my past channel where I used them, though one of those characters actually is getting carried over to this channel, but that's another note. I used like the white form of it. I never used like the black shading of it for those characters, but as soon as I knew I got Midna, I knew I was using this tattoo immediately. Like, I just knew. So, but as far as the other side of her, I did have to interpret like a more different looking tattoo, because most of the solid like tattoos didn't actually cover a whole lot, or it messed with the other tattoo on her other side. So, just a little bit of creative freedom here. I still have the black and like more covering on that side to try to represent that skin tone there. And tattoos obviously are something that no matter what she puts on, if I was to transfer her into like an actual gameplay thing, it would stay there forever. And I also used it with the eyes because I thought I had more options, because with Imp Midna, obviously I had limited things, and I knew I had limited things. So with her, like, I used some makeup stuff that I had to try to get some of that black on there, and then also, like, the one foot has a tall sock on it, like a thigh-high sock or a knee-high sock, to try to cover up her leg with mostly black on that one side. So I had to use some different ways to cover her, versus this one I used True Form Midna mostly has tattoos trying to represent the black. But, with the eyes on the toddler form, I found some eyes that had some yellow and red in it, and I just enlarged it to try to have the yellow cover up most of the white space and have the red be a little bit more present, but at the same time it looked fine, and I went with it, and I knew that I really didn't have many other options to go with. True Form Midna here, I played around with a lot of things because I knew I had more options and I was trying to find something. And I actually have some eye details in my tattoo section, so I have some default eyes that you've probably seen them before if you've ever watched any of my Create Sim videos on the old channel, and even the ones that are re-uploading to the new channel. I have some default eyes that are just the plain color, like there's no pupil, there's no definition in it whatsoever. And those are actually supposed to go with these tattoo pieces I have. But these eyes you can sort of make into like your own thing, so you can put in your own style of pupil. The tattoo, it has like regular pupils, it has like really dilated pupils. It has some cat eye looking ones, so like you can be really playful around it, and there's some gloss, like different eye shines that you can add to it, and there's a few other different effects that you can add to those eyes. Now, because I already had tattoos on her, I was afraid that I wasn't going to be able to use those in any sort of way, but I found some options that did work, and then I went to the makeup section and put like one of the eyes that covers the whole eye yellow, because it didn't have like a pupil in it. That was part of the problem with those. They didn't have like a pupil in the middle of them. But, so that's how I got around. I still gave her a pupil. She still has the red iris, and she has the yellow on the side. So there's a lot of playing around to do, but I had a lot of fun doing it. I think I'm more happy with how the Imp Midna turned out, technically, over the True Form Midna, but I think it's mainly because of the clothing. I don't know. I think going into it with the Imp Midna, I knew that I was going to have loads more restrictions, and I was like, you know, going to do my best, but there obviously is going to be restrictions. With the True Form Midna, I thought that maybe there was a way that I could get a little bit closer than I did, so I think it was my own expectations. But I ran into several issues here and there, like, you know, I had the eyes that I had to work with, I had the tattoos that I was trying to work with, and then with the hair, I found a hair to me that, for some reason, it just gave more Midna vibes to me, but then it has a little scrunchy thing on the back of the hair that was messing with the crown that I tried to put on her. So then I was like, well, do I keep the crown or not keep the crown? Do I change the hair? Do I not change the hair? Ultimately, I decided to keep that hair because I tried a few other things. I have like a few separate hair pieces that come down the side in an accessories column, but they glitch with the crown. So ultimately, I decided to keep this hair and the crown and just deal with the fact that the hair covered the red gem that was on the crown. That was the main issue, was that the hair scrunchie was causing a mesh issue with the crown's red gem. So it was covering up, and it would have been perfect if the red gem could have actually stayed open and still been showing. I did put a little red dot on her forehead too. I get that that's not technically what that red dot is supposed to represent, but in terms of creative freedom here, I tried to at least have that to show some red through the crown and have it represent that red part on her little tiara headpiece thing. So you gotta play with what you can, basically. And but her clothing, I think, is what throws me off the most. I think I'm the least happiest with the clothing. I really overall like her face structure. I do like the hair on her. And I would consider using this sim as like a base to add to one of my main series, whether it be a character in the background for the Female Gaming Legacy or the Not So Berry, something along those lines. Because every new generation, for those, I actually add a few of my own sims for a few different reasons. I've actually watched a few people play some of the Legacy challenges, but like the most recent one that I actually watched fully all the way through, I mean, technically she's still recording for it, but she's basically done, was Claire's Not So Berry challenge, and I've seen what happens when you start giving further generations on. And I think every once in a while she added sims, but I added like whole families of sims. Like I'd add a whole family because I noticed issues with like there just wasn't sims apparently working the same job as the sims. There was a lot of overlap in families by the like 10th generation. I'm still gonna have those things, and that's perfectly fine. But I figure if I add new family, like 5 or 6 new families or groups of sims into the game every generation, that it will start adding new family trees in, so there will hopefully not be like extreme overlap. I can purposely make sure which job they're in, so make sure that there's some that are in the job field of what my sim is supposed to be in. So with all that stuff, I'm like, it should help solve some of those problems, hopefully. So, you know, I would use this sim as a basis because I do really like her face structure. I like how her eyebrows sort of have like an angry look to them, but at the same time, because of the rest of her face, it's not really angry. Like, overall, I'm really happy with her face and how all that stuff turned out. Now, obviously, if I move this to the main save, I'd probably edit her a little bit. Probably change her skin tone, change a few of the features. I'd probably keep the tattoos though still. So, you know, hey. But yeah. Hope you do enjoy the video and you have liked how they turn out. You should be seeing screenshots by now. Technically, at the time of recording the voiceover, I don't have the screenshots, but Sims is loading in the background, or at least attempting to. Sometimes when I'm running something else at the same time, Sim slows down on the new computer. It's faster on the new computer, but it's still not amazingly fast. Like if I didn't have any CC, like if I don't have any CC, that Sims is up and like boom, it's just up. But with all my CC and mods, it takes it a bit, even with the new computer. But you know, so. But yeah, hope you like how Midna turned out. Let me know if you like Imp Midna or True Form Midna better. As far as how my Sims turned out anyway. Me personally, I love them both. So, as far as the Sim versions, there's pros and cons to both of them. I probably equally like them. technically. I was happier results with the Midna because it turned out better than I was expecting. But I still really like how the true form Midna turned out, so I don't know. I might also just see what happens when I age Midna up, because obviously I couldn't fool with the genetics quite as much, or like the facial structure. And see what she turns out when I age her up. See how different they look based off of how I tried to create her as an imp form, and then anyway, that might just be a little side thing I do on my own. I might tweet a picture out on Twitter though, so keep an eye out on my Twitter. All that stuff is in the description below. The playlist for this mini series also will be down in the description below, and definitely feel free to check out the other series that are on the channel. If you're new to this channel, then technically all those series are going to be new to you. They are re-uploads from my old channel to get things back on track for those. But for those who have watched those and stuff, I'm trying to get these up as fast as possible so the newer versions, the newer content can come out. So trying to get on that. Just have some patience with me, but hopefully you like this little mini series as you wait. And thank you so much for being a subscriber. If you're not already, definitely make sure you subscribe and share the video so that other people get a chance to also watch the series as well as the other things on the channel. Like, I already said subscribe, like, comment, you know, all that lovely YouTube goodiness. And I'll hopefully see you in the next one. Bye bye!